Kathy Parks,
Are you ready? Here.
Mary Mascara,
Here.
Joe Fair,
Here.
Tina Freeman,
Present.
Brad Pravell,
Here.
Betsy Runk,
Here.
and Angela is not here? Okay. Oh,
Okay, I will call this meeting to order. I did want to welcome our new members, Brad Pravell and Tina Freeman.
Thank you.
Glad you could join us. Okay. I don't think we've got any, I guess we need to approve the agenda for tonight first.
I would motion to approve the agenda as is.
I have a question on that process. If we want to add a follow-up from and I don't know, since Molly's not here, maybe we can't get any follow-up from the last meeting, would we put that on as an amending the agenda if we're asking for follow-up? Of like, what did they do as far as our request about the little library, let's say, or about the sculpture program?
Yeah, I was going to ask that same question. and she's
So I
not
don't know
here.
if that needs to be an agenda item, like follow-up of old business, or, which, you know,
I can get the question to Molly, and she'll get the answer back to you when she returns. I mean, unless you want to put it on the agenda formally.
we could put it on the agenda formally, and then at least then it would be in the minutes that, to be followed up, or to get follow-up.
With that added, can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I make a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Madam Chair, did you amend the agenda for tonight to include this, or did you just,
Yes, we included the,
you voted on that to?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Mhm. Okay, now we've got the minutes for July 25.
I move to approve the minutes from July 25.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Right. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the input survey for Veterans Memorial Park. And I believe that's talking about the tree. Yeah. And what Molly told me the other day is that we are to, I asked her about the top three because they aren't in that kind of order. We have to decide on the top three. So, and I'm assuming everybody's had a chance to see this.
I had some input from some of my neighbors, and the top three that I heard from them was Independence Oak, because of the fact that the seedling was planted about 1776.
Right.
And then also Tree of Valor, because of the fact that it means valor, meaning great courage in the face of danger. It also means strength, and also strength in encountering danger with firmness and bravery. And then the last one that they liked was Commander, because of the presidential streets.
And then what I had done was I read through them all, and I looked and picked out the ones that people had multiple times had commented, you know, so many people. And it came up with some of those, Freedom was another one that came up multiple times, and Patriot came up multiple times, as did the ones that Tina suggested, Commander and Independence. So I just thought, well, if it came up, multiple people suggested it, at least that's something to go on. I mean, there were many good ones. I was like, oh, are we ever going to figure that out?
And I think another one that was mentioned multiple times was general,
Yeah.
just to add to the confusion.
Thank you.
I'll add to the confusion. Who's Jeff Ratliff?
I think it's got to be explained. It's not a very good one. I'm close.
Jeff Ratliff was our capital improvements project director for years. Had started with the city down in Public Works and then ended up with Capital Improvement Projects Department. Very invested in many projects in the city, a lot that went forward, a couple that went by the wayside. But Jeff passed away last year, and name was added, I'm certain, just as a memorial token because of his length of his service.
Let me ask you one question, John. If, like, for instance, this one, is there going to be any kind of plaque explaining who this person was, or is it just the name on the tree?
And knowing Molly, I would imagine there would be an explanation. She's very detailed.
Okay, that's my first thought the other day when I was seeing all these that kind of need
Yes,
some
ma'am.
explanation.
Right. Okay, as Amy just said, if you didn't hear, there will be a plaque with the description. She and Molly have discussed it, so
Oh, okay.
I'm
John,
not surprised. Yes, sir.
did that gentleman, Jeff Ratliff, have any input on the redoing of the park?
Anything that was a capital improvement project, yes, sir. Jeff,
So he actually had hands-on for that park?
yes, sir. He saw a lot of
Thank
from, yes, sir.
Right. I know, I was thinking of if we could find a name that would incorporate something that, or indicate that the age, and I liked that one, the Patriot, because we think of that when we think of the American Revolution, and it would be something that would incorporate some sense of age in it. But I wonder if they decide to have a name for the tree, but like a plaque to Jeffrey. Also
That
in the
I
park.
don't know. Amy, have you been part of any discussions like that?
Yeah, there will be a plaque, but we're also will explain, the findings of the tree and how old it is and why it's so important to the city.
And actually, then if any of those, like Independence or Patriot or whatever were picked, at least then, if it was explained, people would understand.
They would get it right
Based on its
away.
age,
Right.
The significance of that name.
And I think, too, that there's an opportunity for a tree for Jeffrey, at the Manatee Park. They do trees there with plaques with the name of the individual and something in remembrance of them. At Manatee Park, there's several there. So there's an opportunity there for a tree in his name.
Okay.
I also
Any
see-
suggestions on how we do this?
I also see Magic Tree on here a couple times. Just as ones that I see multiple times. I don't think we mentioned that one. Looks like three.
Majestic or Majesty, you said?
No, Magic Tree.
Magic?
Yeah, there was something where it said that that's what the kids used to call it in the 80s, I guess.
Yep.
This one
And then it's on here
family.
2 other times. So.
Is there a sense from anyone how we might go about making a choice? You know, a
Molly didn't tell
process.
me yesterday.
I think if we maybe put down the
Say we're
top,
supposed to give them the top three?
We picked the
Yeah.
top three.
So maybe if we picked like, write down the top 6, and then whichever ones get the top votes, then those top 3 are the ones that move on to the next round.
Right.
Maybe we could do it that
I was
way.
kind of thinking if we've got some scrap paper or something, we could
Uh-huh.
you could just read them off and then we could just. Might be the easiest, yeah. Quickest.
We can use
We can use the back of our minutes here.
Okay.
Of our previous
Yeah,
minutes.
we can use the back of this.
Oh, you got your notebook.
Whoa.
One sheet, and then Kathy is, you can, you
Good
can
girl, thank you.
read them all off so we kind of know what you've got so far, because I think those are good choices since they've been mentioned multiple
Okay.
times, and then,
I'll read all of these off. And first one was Independence Oak, the Tree of Valor, Commander, Freedom, Patriot, General, and Jeff Ratliff.
So put down our top 3 then, out of those 7.
going to write down which 3 we like, is that?
I guess, and we'll see how that
See if that
works out.
works.
Can we throw the magic tree in there?
Oh, and the magic tree,
So that'd
sorry.
be 8. So out of 8, pick the top 3 then,
Right.
that you like? Okay.
We're going to go through these and see what we've ended up with, if any of us.
Shall we pass them down and?
And
Give
then
them
we'll
to
see
Give them to Amy?
if we've
or-
got somebody that, this is kind of hard to do without having a real ballot kind of thingy.
You just put down, 1 and cross and, yeah.
Yeah.
Just count how many votes for each one.
Right.
The 8 again. One more time, sorry.
Okay, we've got Independence.
Out of the batch here that people,
That's what y'all mentioned.
that's what
Minutes
appealed to
ago.
you.
Those
But
8
there's
have
some
been
others
mentioned.
that appealed to you that you didn't get to mention.
No, it was Tina's input from her neighbors or from the citizens, and then it was also Betsy's tallies that had which ones were most, and then some other mentions, part of our discussion. So those are the 8 that were mentioned during that time.
You
That's where we got
mentioned
that
Jeff.
8 from.
Yeah.
Okay,
So who do we give these to?
another way we could do this is write them all down and then put 1, 2, 3 next to the ones you like the most, and see if they match, or we can go ahead and count what we've got.
Just see the one that has the most repetition.
Correct. All different, then we start.
But can you tell me the 8 again?
All right, we've got Independence.
Wait a second, why don't we all write them all down?
Okay.
In case we need to change this up.
Right, okay, we've got Independence Oak, Tree of Valor, Commander, Magic Tree, Freedom, Patriot, General, and Jeff Ratliff.
Call out the name and we can.
What was,
all-
was it Patriot?
Patriot, mhm.
If you guys just want to write one.
I only have 7 then. What am I missing?
Magic.
I got magic.
No, did
that
you
is
miss
7.
the Jeff Ratliff?
Jeff Ratliff.
That's the, that was the 8th one.
That was the 8, yeah.
General.
If you guys want to just label them 1 through 8.
Yep, why don't we do that?
I will see which ones have the most, might be easier.
Then it'll be whichever one has the lowest score. If we're,
Yes, like 1 is your top,
Got it.
2,
Okay.
3. Might help us come to a decision quicker.
Our enumerator.
Yes, I.
Among your other jobs tonight.
Did I read off Majesty?
no.
Majesty, because that's one we wrote down too, so.
That was one of the ones. Oh, Magic Tree.
We had Magic Tree, and then there was Majesty. And I was just writing these things down as people said them.
Okay. Kathy, are you want these?
Oh, we're gonna hand them over here to,
Thank you, Marcy.
Okay.
Hey, John, can you give me another piece of paper?
You do one more piece of paper.
Here's a piece right here.
Oh, never mind, John.
Well, first I'm going to write them down.
Okay. Independence, Tree of Valor,
yeah, we can do that.
Commander.
The next order of business is to review the Cape Center operational guidelines that the city attorney drew up. Has everybody had a chance to read that and
Yes?
Yes.
absorb it?
I like the fact that he gave options, where he said in several of things, like as far as alcohol and sponsorships and things like that, a lot of and/or. So it gave us options. It wasn't, things that were set in stone. It was more, a little more
Can't do
flexible.
this.
Right, right. It definitely provided some flexibility.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't really see any issues with what was written, and I really didn't see anything that was necessarily missing.
I didn't
But
either.
I also haven't read a lot of these types of,
I'll go through and pick up the
What was a Patriot?
And I think they
operating procedures.
also had said that this was like just the first of many core documents, so.
Well, that's what I saw, and I'm like, well, until you had them all, you don't
Right.
really know like what is covered and what's not covered.
The only input that I received was, that I've received from people regarding it, is the fact that there's no priority as far as exhibits by Cape Canaveral citizens. As far as that being, they feel like there's been a lot of exhibits by people from outside the city and not from so much from the citizens. And we've got a lot of great, artists, photographers,
Oh, yeah.
historians, and things like that in the city. And but I think that's just a case of maybe getting some more publicity out there for.
Molly's been putting stuff out, asking for that in the newsletter.
And I wonder if that really would fall more into maybe their mission statement or their collections management policy. And this is supposed to be their
Kind of rules.
strategic institutional plan
Uh-huh.
that we're looking at. So,
Operational guidelines.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's not about Cape Center.
Right, not like, yeah, so that's why I think how
How we solicit.
might be handled in a different document, or the mission statement may say it should prioritize, citizens' work from, or showcase citizens' work, and, because we haven't seen, or I haven't seen, the mission statement for it, really.
I mean, this is just really the basics about operations.
Operational
you know.
management of it, yeah.
Exactly.
Hence the reason I suppose it was drafted by the attorney,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that it was
Yeah.
all
Legal.
legal
Right, and the important things like alcohol and,
stuff.
Option of accepting this as written or rejecting it.
Do I do this back to her?
Well, the Cape Center's currently operating. What are they operating on? I mean, that would be my question is, if they weren't operating and they were waiting for this document to be signed to operate, then that's one thing. But if they're currently operating, then they're not waiting for this document.
Correct, they're not.
So it could be better than for us to wait till Molly's here or somebody that's representing the Cape Center that would be able to speak. I mean,
Yeah, as far as I've heard about the lack of representation of Cape Canaveral citizens in their projects there. And when the solicitations go out for projects, there's no discrimination. It goes out, it's advertised, and it's what we get back that's what we have to choose from. And again, you're correct, that is Molly and Amy Lee who handle the Cape Center. But I do know that those solicitations are open to anyone and everyone. We don't go to any one area and, try to spotlight that. We're mindful that we're part of the Space Coast area. So we want to be inclusive of that, but certainly if a project comes in that's, or submission that's from a resident here, and it's, deemed to be better than others, then that's what will be selected and what will be used there.
It's all on the top of the list.
Right, yes, ma'am.
And as far as advertising, the calls for art are sent to all the local art associations. I have a very large list. Our colleges, high schools, our media partners is also advertised in our weekly update, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Nextdoor.
all right.
Now, it does say in this cover page here that this is the document that we received is the first of multiple policy documents that the board will review for this facility. So they are operating, but obviously they aren't operating without any policy,
documentation,
really,
yep.
yeah. And I think probably from what it looks like here, I think they found they better get some legal stuff in line. Possibly because people were asking about private activities or alcohol.
Guaranteed.
Can I rent it?
Every facility we have, those questions come in, so you're correct.
Yeah. So I guess if anybody has anything to amend, otherwise I guess I would just say probably not a bad thing to just say approve it and pass it on to the city council, because it's probably something that they want to get wrapped up sooner than later. Well, I just was going to say, does anybody have any amendments that we'd want to put into here for?
So I don't know that. I don't know that this will go to city council, because on the signature page, it has our board chairperson and it has the city manager. So I think that it's going to be, the final is going to be with us.
See, I didn't see that. We don't see that.
That's on the
Yeah, the
back
last
page.
page.
Oh, I
has-
didn't.
Page
get that.
4.
I didn't photocopy, I didn't
Gotcha.
print that page.
The most important
I
thing.
missed that one.
Is it possible that, like, this is the first of many documents to come, and it's going to take a while to get everything that is necessary, but this is at least the first step, and they probably are given a certain amount of time, I expect, to just legally get everything in order, and so it really behooves us to kind of help them get going.
Right, and if you look at the signature page that you're referencing, it's reads reviewed and recommended by the Culture and Leisure Services Board, and be signed by the chairperson, and as Joe pointed out, the city manager, and that's for the recommendation. So yeah, anything binding is going to go to the council. They'll have to vote on it. So.
Okay.
It's not like it can't be revised somewhere down the road.
And that's part of the process, wanting you guys to look at it and see if you had anything that popped out at you there.
And it doesn't sound like we do. So I would go ahead and I would make the official motion to ratify it and as is presented to us.
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
Are we ready to take a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we can go back to the tree. The top three.
You want to make sure the secretary got the results of the vote.
Yeah, they handed it to me.
She handed it to them.
I'm
Oh,
talking
oh,
about for the receiving the document.
Yes, I have Joel made the motion, Mary seconded it. Everyone said yay except for Brad
Okay.
Perdue said nay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now, the three top trees evidently were Independence, Valor, and Patriot.
The top 3, I'm sorry, what were they again?
It was Independence Tree, Valor, and Patriot. According to what we just
Okay.
did.
Well, I guess then, based on our wonderful voting there, process, I make the motion that we submit those 3 top suggestions.
All in favor?
Aye.
One more thing on here, and that is update on board membership and determine the course forward regarding the position of a second alternate. We've got a first alternate.
We have 2 alternates currently.
No, we've just got one, and that is James Stovey.
Yay.
And he is also, you know, he's allowed to come to the meetings and participate in the conversations. I was hoping he'd be here tonight, but.
He is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nobody introduced you. Good, you're here. That's great.
That's fine.
Do you have any comments?
Oh, wait, I guess maybe I'm confused here, because we named 2 alternates, right?
But
An
Angela,
alternate. And then when Angela
Who
stepped
was the
up,
alternate?
Tina was one of the
No,
alternates.
Tina
I mean-
was original, as was Brad, because there's
but
6 of
it
us sitting
was
here right now.
Ginny
There's
Scott,
7.
who's not here.
Oh,
She stepped
okay.
into
That's why I'm missing
Angela's.
somebody.
This is Ginny.
Okay. Because it said Angela's still out there on the name, and I thought, oh.
That was me. It's been a while since I've done one, sorry.
Well, I guess, here's my question. Because according to what the guidelines were, which were so fuzzy when we were looking at this whole process, and it hadn't been needed for like ever, because we never had the problem of having more applicants than we had spots, right? And so the whole alternate thing, you know, we wrestled with that for a while. But it was my understanding from the way that document read and when we wrestled with it, was the alternate positions are either for, one, they fill in if a regular member isn't here, or two, if somebody leaves in the middle of their term, then they would take and fill out that term.
Correct.
That's why you had the alternates. Now, Angela's term was over.
Yeah.
It was not that she had left in the middle of her term. So then should it just go to the alternate? Or should it be, what if there had been other people since whenever, last spring when we collected these applications, that other people had put in applications? Should that not have been opened up for anyone to be filling that 3-year commitment? Because when an alternate takes a spot, like Tina and Brad did, they were taking somebody's spot for a year or 2 years or whatever, Larry and are we bad or whatever?
We're horrible.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at how they usually do it on, you know, most boards and things like that. So that's where I kind of got confused as to when Angela leaves. So let's say, and I can't remember, and I looked through my stuff, and I know at one time Molly gave us like, who's up when and what's your date. But I thought that it was always like at a certain time of the year, like always in October or something that, or whatever, that your time is up.
It's online. It's in-
Yeah, I know it's online, but it's not like everybody has a different date. I thought it was kind of always.
Well, I was told I was filling in for a person who left, and that it was a very short term. And then they automatically said, you're going into the 3-year term because you filled that short position, so now next you're going into the 3-year term.
Correct, but.
So,
It wasn't automatic,
Oh.
okay? If you remember, I know I did, got an email from the city stating, congratulations, you've been extended for the next 3 years. So apparently there was another vote,
oh,
okay?
What did it say? What did it say?
Excuse me, Mr. Prevail and Ms. Freeman, they were not alternates.
No.
They were appointed to the board, so.
Correct.
She just, as she's talking about when the person left, she just came on early.
oh,
So only Mr. Stobie and Jenny they're the only alternates we have.
Right. But I thought that, like, and I don't remember, you know, like Larry, I know, left early. He did not fill out his 3 years term. And so I thought that when we took someone to fill that 6th spot or 7th spot, or whatever, I can't remember where the other spot came from. Although I think we were always running one short, weren't we?
I didn't know we
I
were
think we
supposed
were.
to have 7 in the first place.
Yeah, and I think we were only running 6, and then Larry left, and then we had 5. So possibly one person was filling out, you know, could start with a 3-year term, because that was nobody's.
So what'll happen is, now Ms. Trulock, her term is over, so now the first alternate will step into that seat. You've already vetted her. The board's
But what
already
I'm
vetted.
saying is, what if a bunch of other people had put in their applications? Why would that seat, being it's a 3-year, not just a mid-year or mid-cycle opening, why would that not be open to anyone?
Again, I assume because the process has been followed.
This is kind of something new. They've never had this situation where there's been all these
Exactly, and we went
alternate
through
people.
months
right.
of getting everyone vetted through the process with you guys up to the council, the votes, the hearings they had and the votes they made. And that's, as I understand it to be, that when Angela's term ended, it was like baseball.
Right.
With your bench, we got a person there
That's what I thought.
to put up,
Right. I know when I submitted my application and I was being vetted, there was 9 candidates. And then they basically, picked the all-star team. So like your baseball analogy. So they picked the top ones and said, okay, this one, and then the board voted, okay, this one's going to fill this spot. This one's going to be the alternate. So it was going to be a first alternate, second alternate. So they would, go ahead and slide in to those empty spots, and that's why the first alternate and the second alternate were chosen, because of the fact of the turnover. That's
Yeah.
that's what I understood.
Well, this is interesting what they have online, because I guess that was never explained to us in this way. The dates they have here of their term.
so I guess for clarification, the question is, do you guys want to add another alternate? Because now we're taking an alternate and placing them on the board as an active member, not how the process works. So that if there is a question before the board, that would be it. And
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we take the next alternate and place them on the vacated seat on the board.
Well, they did already,
Oh, and that was Jenny?
yes.
Okay.
And then
And then now, do we still have another
Well,
vacancy?
There were three folks that were not chosen as an alternate or anything else, if the people would be still interested.
yeah, but that would be for another meeting.
Yes.
We can't, it's not on the agenda.
It's something I
so-
guess we have to
Well,
decide
I
the
think the
process.
problem here is there isn't a written policy on how this happens.
Well,
Because the
as I said-
policy that was written was not what happened.
Well, then we can bring that up at another meeting.
And I think,
Put it
yeah,
on the
I think
agenda.
that the
Madam Chair.
policy, if this is a great thing, that people want to be involved, which it is, so we don't want to discourage this, but then we also don't want to make people not understand what the policy is, or to be able to read the policy as to how this goes, because if all boards should be so lucky that they have people who want to participate, then I think people should be aware of what the policy is. And the policy, as we read it, when we were discussing this, we know was very.
Madam Chair,
ambiguous.
that's not on the agenda tonight.
No.
Um,
Well, the
If you want to
discussion
bring
is.
this up for discussion in another meeting, you can, yes, ma'am.
I'll make a
Thank
note
you.
of
Yeah, and I think that in that policy, then it should be discussed, or it should be evaluated, how you deal with the first alternate, second alternate, and when one has to get moved up, what do you do with the opening of the second one, or
Right.
how is that process done?
Eh.
Because you could say, well, we have one alternate, that's great, but then again, what is their responsibility? Is their responsibility, since they're listed now as having an expiration term, which I don't know if the alternates understood online, now it's listed, that they have, what's their responsibility? Is their responsibility that they are to come to the meetings or ask for an excuse because, so that they stay up to date with what's going on? So if one of the regular board members
Madam Chair,
present?
again, this is for discussion at another meeting.
Right.
Thank you. We'll move on.
Well, that's why that's why this is under discussion
And
right
I've
now.
made a note to get it on
Yeah.
the agenda. I can tell you that when I met with Molly the other day, talking about the alternates, she explained to me how they can come to the meetings. We want them to come to the meetings, so they know what's going on.
Correct.
They can't vote, but they can speak and
Exactly.
participate in the meeting.
But I don't know if but that's what I'm saying, is that, every job description, or if you're going to apply for something, you need to know what that job description is and what's expected of you.
Well, I've put a note here to put this specifically on. the
Yeah,
next
that we
agenda,
need
so
to, that we,
And we can do a little bit of research and make sense of it before
yeah.
next meeting.
And I do remember her saying, even when she pulled out that policy, that we kind of had to use to, what we were gonna do here.
I think it needs to be
that
clarified.
it was very
and-
old.
and
And
we'll
she was
do
kind of
that
like,
next
well, yeah, this really needs to be rewritten or revisited. And, and especially if we want to encourage more participation of people, I think it's good to have clarity as to what
Yes.
people are signing up for.
It's been very confusing, yeah.
To everybody.
Well, we haven't had the type of thing where we had so many people
we haven't been that
all of a
lucky.
sudden. And to get to the number of people that are sitting on the board tonight, all this started back in December, and we are finally, it was a very long and winding path to get here. And in a way, when I looked at, there were 3 people that were not included in any office. How long do you wait to go back to them if if alternates are getting used and say, in like our respect, we need a second alternate? How long do we keep those people as eligible when it becomes months since?
Well, I think we need to talk about the policy at the next meeting.
Yes.
I'm going to put it on the agenda and do some research, and we'll have that, so we can go ahead and move on tonight.
Yes, exactly.
And the next thing on the agenda is Mr. Mayberry.
Hold on, sorry, before we move on. It says the board may take one of the following actions regarding this vacancy. Recommend a previously interviewed candidate to fill the position. Direct staff to solicit new applicants to fill the position. Leave the position of second alternate vacant. I would move that we recommend that we leave the position of second alternate vacant until we come up with a policy that's written and clear on the expectations of those that are alternates, and then how we would fill the alternate roles and how the alternates become board members, so we get some more clarity. So of those 3 choices that was brought forward in the agenda item, I would move that we leave it vacant until we get more clarity on how the process works.
So that means Mr. Scobie moves up to the first alternate position.
Correct. He's currently the only alternate. If anyone would step off the board, he would step in and fill that position. But we would not have a second alternate until we get some clarity on
Their
are we going
role.
to keep pulling from a pool? Can you be alternates on multiple boards? Like, how do all those things work? And then when do we vote in new alternates? Would it only be once every year that we take applications? Or is it an ongoing list of applications, and the first application that's brought, we review it when there's an opening? There's a couple different ways that you could go about that.
Because I did find the policy that she gave us. And if you read it, it only talks about using alternates to fill out the appointed term of a person who leaves before the end of their term. That's all it says, as far as the policy. And, obviously they come with a regular member can't and all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't really talk about, how they should be selected or, so yes.
And how long their term is and all that.
Yeah,
Right.
and
I'm
we'll-
making notes.
I'm gonna
Lots of
work
questions.
on that. Joel has made a motion to leave the second alternate vacant for the time being until we figure out exactly what we need to do.
And I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And if you want to make a follow-up to Molly there, that I think that being that this procedure was from, I've got the date on it here. She didn't give us the original dated copy.
I'll definitely
Yeah,
meet
that
with
will-
her at least once before the
Yeah, that
next
will,
meeting.
that possibly they'll need to start to revise that procedure policy as far as around board members and alternates to be more current.
So is everybody in favor of that motion? Leave it empty for the time being? Okay. All right, now it's Mr. Mayberry's time.
Just the updates on the baseball field. I submitted for my purchase order on the new load of clay we're installing out there. The guys have been doing some work in the last week, doing some landscaping out there. It looks pretty good right now, so we want to get new clay. I'm ordering new bases and home plate, and I think that should be pretty good setup for them to go forward. They have a new board. They were electing members last week, and Joel just confirmed that they did get that completed. I have to speak with them and get their schedule so we can coordinate times for the bathrooms and everything over there for game time and practice, since those things are on timers. So there's some coordination to everything to make sure we've got all the bases covered, no pun intended. We've been participating in cleanup around town after the storms. Thankfully, we didn't get hit bad anywhere, and so we're almost through with that. About to have that wrapped up. Had some small issues with some of the roofs, but nothing major at all. So that's pretty much where we are right now. We've got projects. The next meeting, I'll be updating you on that we're getting started on, but I'm in the beginning stages of those right now, planning and getting everything lined up.
Questions?
And then as far as those two amended items we put on the agenda, that's just going to be passed along to Molly, I guess.
I'll talk to Molly and there's some other places I can look, but I'll make sure we get it for next meeting and I'll put it on the agenda. And Molly's not here to give her part, so.
She had a family emergency, she came up out of nowhere today. We were in a meeting when she got the call and she left, and then she's got her vacation. Her favorite time of the year is Halloween, so she takes Halloween week off. So that was already planned, so she won't be back until after the 1st of November, but.
Okay.
Can I make two comments real fast? First off, Ian and your maintenance team are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Second that.
To be shorthanded and taking care of all the parks, and with the storm coming through and everything that they've done, and the other guys chipping in with him, fantastic job. So, yeah, that's just hands down.
We've got Brian, who was Ian's partner on the maintenance team, submitted his application when we had a supervisory position came open, and he was selected for that. So we moved him. He's now in the community center in C5 working there. So we hired a replacement for him, and we were allotted a new maintenance person this new fiscal year. So I have 2 interviews tomorrow and 1 on Monday, and then we'll be making a selection for the 3rd person. So things are looking up, but thank you for I'll pass it along to the guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They work hard. The second thing is Veterans Memorial Park looks amazing. Like, it's just.
It's what?
It looks amazing.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It's incredible. You guys did a great job, and it just keeps looking better all the time. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and Monday, we are slated, and excuse me, because we've got interviews and all this other stuff, but Veterans Memorial Park, we've talked so much about the tree tonight. Everybody knows that we were planning to put a fence around it to keep the kids and things out, because they climb in it and break branches off. So we're slated, weather permitting, Monday, this coming Monday, the fence is going to be installed. So hopefully that'll be done by the middle of the week. They got a lot of roots to work around out there, but that's going to be nice.
You know if there's going to be like some dedication ceremony about the tree or something?
They're doing
Yes,
that on
ma'am,
Veterans Day.
on Veterans Day, yes,
Which is
ma'am.
Monday,
Right,
yeah.
the 11th.
November 9th.
9, yeah.
Actually, the VFW and the American Legion are currently working on a Veterans Parade, and they will be doing a ceremony at VMP after that, and then they will have a get-together in the lot where we normally do Friday Fest. That is scheduled for Saturday, November the 9th at 11:11 a.m. The
Oh.
parade route will go down Taylor, They will turn left on Ridgewood, and they will come up Harrison to Orange and come back to VMP. So, come out and cheer them on and watch the parade. We think it's going to be great.
Mr. Mayberry?
Yes, sir.
Quick question, or actually first a comment, then a question. First, I think our Little League baseball field is very, maybe people don't know, but I was umpire, okay, in a former life.
Me too.
And the field is in excellent condition. As you know,
Thank
I
you.
live by Sandpiper in the field. Quick question. Is there room on the field or near the field to put in a batting cage?
I have to check into that.
Okay, I think we have a top-notch facility there. You have excellent lighting, okay? I know there's other improvements you all are thinking about doing, but watching the kids practice, I believe a batting cage is something, whether it's boys or girls.
It would come down to a question of space because we've got so much with the splash pad there. And as you live there, as you just stated, you saw we had to redig all the piping up.
Right.
And redo it. So that whole area that is kind of open it's just nothing but sewage pipe and storm water underneath there. So it would be finding a space that we could put one. I agree with you. It would be nice.
It can be placed on the field because the ground rules would say, once the ball touches the cage, it's a dead ball. And the batter runner immediately gets second base and all runners move up one base. That's in the rules.
Okay.
Something to think about.
Okay. We can get together and talk about it. Yeah.
Yes,
One old umpire to another.
yes.
I just kind of wanted to mention, especially for the new people who are in the alternate here, because we got messed up in our schedule of meetings because of the hurricane, that we do have a meeting November 21st, so it is in 1 month, which is unusual.
I thought it was January. Okay.
Thanks for that reminder.
Hey, is there anything else, or do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that the meeting is called for adjournment.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.